Thank you for tuning in. Today, I have the incredible opportunity to speak with someone that I look up to in the food world, Darya Rose, who has an amazingly extensive background, and on her website, she actually calls herself a PH dork, which I love because I love the science behind food and just the psychology of eating and all of that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and go into how Darya sees food being a part of relationships and how eating well and health style, as she describes it, can benefit our relationships. So thank you so much, Darya, for being here.
My pleasure. This is lovely.
Awesome. So the first thing that I want to touch upon is how food translates into our relationships and how the way that we eat and what we choose to put in our mouths can really affect our relationships with our partners and overall all relationships. So how do you see food and health style, as you describe it, playing a role in our relationship with our partners?
Gosh, food is so central to our culture, and obviously our partner is the center of our lives and of our culture, our personal culture. So really the intersection happens in like so many ways. I mean, there's the obvious, like, we're sitting at a table together and sharing a meal multiple times a day, sometimes multiple times, like almost every day of the week. That is a tremendous bonding experience. You know, we in my house, with very rare exceptions, always have the TV off, always dim the lights, always sit at the table and talk to each other during dinner, and that makes it feel special. You know, and because we do that, it makes me feel like I want special food on the table as well. And so I go out of my way, which, you know, I would do for health reasons or whatever, but the emotional benefit and the benefit that we get as a couple, that, you know, I buy groceries with care at the farmer's market from people who care. I come home and I cook it with care. We buy humanely processed meats. He usually cooks that part, so it's really a collaboration, and it's like, besides waking up in the morning and being snuggly, it's like the best part of the day. So, you know, that's huge, and like obviously there's a tremendous benefit to your brain when you're in a happy relationship and you have those bonding moments and you have connection with other people. Like, we are like physically designed to connect with people, and food is my personal favorite way to do it.
Yes. I totally agree with that. I love how you just said that one of your favorite parts of the day, of course, in the morning, being snuggly, and then being in the kitchen or cooking together, eating together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that after that whole eating experience is really when the truth is revealed as well. So we're eating something amazing and something that really nourishes our body. And I talk a lot about sensual food and how I believe in food that ignites your senses and engages all of your senses. And I believe that's totally in alignment with what you advocate. The whole idea of just, you know, eating real food, basically.
Absolutely. This is something I totally didn't understand before I experienced it firsthand. So I used to think like organic was for like crazy hippies, and I didn't consider myself a crazy hippie. And so, and I thought it was more about pesticides and the environment or whatever. What completely eluded me was the fact that what I thought was the exact same food, like a peach or a zucchini or a tomato, could taste completely different when it's grown by somebody who actually gives a shit. Right? So when I started, you know, I always just shopped at grocery stores like normal people. But a couple times I went to the farmer's market when I was in my early 20s, and I was just blown away at things that I thought were, like, I used to hate zucchinis because I thought they were just flavorless and watery and kind of ruined a dish because they were so squishy. They're amazing. They're now one of my absolute favorite foods because I buy amazing ones that are sweet and crunchy, and they don't have that like gross chemical-y flavor that the ones I grew up eating had. And it's absolutely sensual. It's like, I mean, I would eat this way for health, but I don't. That's not what drives me. That's not what, I'm not, you know, it's like pizza's good too. And like, that's why I think a lot of people lose that battle because they're like, well, I want to eat something really bad for me. I want to eat something really decadent or whatever. And the other alternative just sounds less sexy. And, you know, it's like salad, bleh. Like people hate the words like healthy food. If that was motivating me, I would lose a lot. You lose that battle a lot. But when you're eating real food that actually tastes amazing, even though it is healthy, like the healthy just becomes like a side point. You eat it because it's freaking delicious. Because every week something peaks at the farmer's market and like steals your attention and makes you just like super excited to eat it. And next week it'll be something completely different. And so it never gets old. It's always exciting. And it's primarily a sensual experience for me because, I mean, I just don't see the point of ever eating anything that tastes bad. I mean, whether it's good for you or not, like that's beside the point. Like life's too short. Like eat food that is awesome. Life should be awesome.
I love that. I love that. What's so cool about that is I advocate eating this way, eating real food, because you have a better relationship with your partner. And you actually enhance that for me. I have a better relationship with my partner because of things that I've learned from you. Because I do get into this pattern sometimes where I'm kind of perfectionist about the way that I eat and kind of extremist. And, you know, I know exactly what to eat that is the most nourishing and just optimal nourishment. So I stick with that. And we balance each other on that, but we also can drive each other crazy. Like he wants to be that way as well. And after I completed your course at Creative Live, I kind of relaxed around that, and it got a lot lighter and a lot easier. And Joe is constantly saying, "Oh, remember what Darya said when we'll be eating something," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to eat that." He's like, "Just, you know, enjoy it because it tastes so good, and just be happy you're eating it." And
there's no point in getting hung up on like minute details about your diet, right? I focus on the big picture. You know, I focus on habits, like eating habits that have like really move the needle. You know, stuff you do every single day, stuff that makes a huge impact in your life. And, you know, it's so easy, especially in like this day and age where science is like nitpicking all the aspects of our nutrition. It's so easy to get bogged down in like, you know, you have to cook the tomato in this way to maximize lycopene, you know, and it's like, yes, but like if you are eating vegetables, you're 90% of the way there, right? Like if you're eating real vegetables or like, if you're eating farmer's market vegetables that are like local and seasonal, you're even closer, you know, and like you can get all upset about, you know, this sort of carb or that sort of vitamin and which oil should I use? Is it too hot? Is it past its smoking point? Am I going to die of heart disease from one stupid stir fry? Like, no, you know what I mean? So it's like, you can worry about all those things, or you could just chill out, enjoy your food, realize that it's impossible to eat perfect because we don't even know what that means, and do your best and focus on the big wins. You know, we know for a fact if you eat a lot of vegetables, your risk of being overweight, getting diabetes, getting heart disease plummets. That's what you need to focus on. And it is important to get that perspective, and I think it's hard to do.
Yeah, that is a key point, and I love that you said if you're eating mostly vegetables, you're 90% of the way there. That's so simple. Like, there's no thought required to realize how much you're eating if it's vegetables. That's awesome. I love that. And one thing I want to touch upon that you said during the Creative Live course was you put the word veggies and sexy in the same sentence. And I love that because you were also just talking about how people think maybe once in a while they'll be thinking organic and they're like, oh, yuck, salad or organic or along those lines. And it actually is sexy to be eating this sort of real nutritious food.
Yeah, you know, there's something really funny about people. We have this tendency to filter our experiences through what we already believe, through what we expect. And there has been dozens and dozens of psychological studies showing that what you taste depends on how food is presented. So if you think something is going to be healthy and therefore going to be gross and tasteless and expensive and a pain in the butt to make, you're going to have a bad experience. You taste what you expect to taste. On the other hand, if the same exact food is labeled decadent, delicious, fresh. There's all these words that suddenly somebody's like, ooh, I want decadent, fresh, taste like delicious food. And it can be the exact same food, and we perceive it completely differently. So I feel like part of my job is to sell that food is sexy. I'm like marketing for food. It's like, because if you aren't aware of the impact that the way you present something impacts someone, you're gonna be constantly hitting up against the wall, right? So my job, and I think anybody trying to get people to change their behavior and eat healthier food, your job is to make things that happen to be healthy sound sexy, sound delicious, sound enticing, sound all those things that make you actually want to change your behavior instead of just thinking you should, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. That was another thing that I wanted to speak about, was just getting your partner on board and making this sort of conscious eating appealing. And that's exactly it. Just not focusing on you should, instead focusing on it's amazing and it tastes great.
Yeah, guess how many people have ever done anything because they should? Zero. There's always a deeper emotional reason we do something. And you have to tap into that. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels.
Yes. This was a part of your book that I really loved, too, because you dive really deep into this. So Darya's book, Foodist, is awesome, and I highly recommend it. I finished it in one day because I put it down because I love food, learning about the psychology of food. So, yes, pick up that book if you want to understand more of the psychology behind eating and everything health style related. And I think that just about does it.
Thank you, Lana. It's been really great to speak to you and talk about the sexiness of food. I love that.
Yes, likewise. Thank you so much. And everyone go ahead and check out Darya Rose on summertomato.com. And thanks so much for being with us.